Hey, everybody. Welcome to this latest conversation in this series of like, what is this? And we're going to talk a little bit about talk to the entities today. Talk to the entities. Don't ignore them, talk to them. So, this is my friend Lynnae. Hi.
Hello. This has been fun for the last few weeks talking about different things.
Yeah, and these conversations got stimulated from live classes that I've got coming up in San Diego. And there's classes going on all the time. So no matter when you're watching this, this is relevant to a class that I love and I facilitate. And Lynnae, you, with this particular topic, started out as a and then turned into a
Yeah,
do you,
yeah,
do you want to talk a
yeah.
little bit about that for you?
Um, it's always been a very relevant thing in my life.
Yeah.
Um, and it's something that Access has given me more easy tools to have more place where I'm not worried about being judged about it, if that makes
Yes.
sense.
Yes.
Um, and that in my world, it's really not a big deal. It's just this quiet, wonderful, fantastic, easy space.
Cool.
And yeah, so an
Okay,
access
cool.
has
Well, what
helped.
Talk to the Entities is it's the beginning of starting to learn to work with your spirit awareness. And what I find as a facilitator of this is that most people either don't want to admit that they're aware or don't
Yeah,
know that they're aware, and that's what's happening. But then when they see this conversation that really does get introduced in Foundation and kind of has a standalone thing as an intro, it's like there is something in the name of the class and the invitation of the class that kind of makes us all go either like this or like, mm-mm.
yeah,
And either one of those responses is an indicator of ability. So it starts to teach you, it's like a co education and give you more access to your ability with the spirit world. So, can you want to talk about like one of the greatest gifts it's been to you or some aspect about it that it's changed for you? Because I noticed a big change in you, but I don't know if you noticed it living it.
Um, what was the difference you saw in me?
Well, when
Is
you
that a
first
weird
came to
question
me,
to
there was
ask?
a lot of like, you had a lot of pain in your body, and there was just a lot of like, I think probably like contraction around just a lot of survival and energies like that, just like kind of more like
Yeah,
this. And the more entity classes that you took with me, the more that we did our business hours, which is just this daily thing where you show up and you
still
be
doing them.
with, and
Still
yeah,
doing them.
the more softening I saw in your world, the more ability to probably to receive, but I don't know what it was like for you.
Yeah, all of the above. Um, and it's yeah, it's so weird and just blank. I could tell an experience that I had
Sure,
working with somebody
sounds good.
yesterday. That's
Yeah.
a good thing. Um, she came for facilitation, clearings and talk, and then to get her bars run. So she had been working with a therapist for a very long time and they kept focusing on this problem.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
just asked her this simple question, like energetically, if you just close your eyes, does that energy belong to you, somebody else, or something else? And just right out, she goes, something else. And without knowing anything. So with just some of the practical tools and just let's just clear that. Let's just move that. And whatever that is, like we don't have to go into it. And so just a couple minutes into the clearing in the session, from her body, literally, she couldn't like breathe, to like, oh my gosh, I feel like a totally different. It was like that weight of this energy, whatever you want to call it, that energy was cleared. And forever,
Cool.
her body was so different. And then we threw her on the table and ran her bars.
Cool.
So, and that's like a
Yeah.
practice that I can do all regularly. So I think it's just getting over the point of view of what that word can bring up.
Yeah, and in truth, like the word the class does bring up a lot. I know for me, it was a topic that I just I thought it was really weird in foundation, but then I was kind of constantly using the tools. If I would walk into an airport and everything felt foggy and like heavy, I would clear entities. So I would use the tools, but I only wanted to kind of get surface deep with it. Like in foundation, we cleared what are called original occupants, which are like these beings that if you've walked into the body at some point, there's other beings in there with you. And we cleared a lot of those. And so my life really changed because I started getting more access to me. And I would then kind of walk into the rest of my life, and I was using the clearing tools, which handles about 80% of entity activity, but there was still like this whole kind of spectrum of me that I didn't have access to. And the year that I started asking for like, what is receiving for me, talk to the entities started really like not pounding on my door of like, you need to dive into this, like you need to get into this more. And that's when I got access to a level of nurturing and like care and support energetically and ability to work with and change things that I didn't even know was available.
Yeah.
So it's been really, really transformative for me, and I've noticed it being the same for other people. But it's funny because it's one of those transformations that you might not necessarily notice because you're living it, and everything just kind of gets easier and gentler, and yeah.
Easier. I do what,
Yeah.
the practice of what they call business hours. And I try to do it every morning. And what that just is for me is just a quiet space that I go into. And like,
Yeah.
and just that energy of communication and there's like, it's just space and there's no judgment there. And it's like playful. And that's what I'm aware of is like, I live in this world, right, where there's so much judgment all the time. And in that space, and that energy, there is none. And I know
Yeah.
sometimes that doesn't make sense, but when you start to get into that, you're like, more of that, please. Like it
Yeah.
feels so good. And it's where awareness comes up for me really easily. So, what's easy, sometimes we run away from.
We skip over because it's too
We
easy.
skip over, it's too easy. I mean, how could that be?
Yeah.
How could that be?
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, but
Yeah.
it is. So,
Well, the truth
yeah,
is that entity awareness shows up as all these different things, and it's so different for each one of us. And it can show up as moods, um, skin problems, chronic diseases, depression, anxiety. Like, there's so many different iterations of spirit aware, like the symptoms of spirit awareness. And they're most of the time, like 98% of the time, misidentified as a problem. And we're usually diagnosed with a disease before someone says, "Are you aware of entities?" So I encourage everybody that like when you can't look away from a conversation and maybe you're avoiding it simultaneously, there's probably something there for you. The truth about the spirit world is that it's real. It is. It exists, and we are aware of it. And so if we function as if we're not, we're always going to have a hard time. If we start really learning about it and learning about our abilities and getting the tools to like start handling things, then everything gets easier and richer. So what we're bringing to San Diego is an introduction to this conversation. And I will be doing a beginning class, which is after that, in Colorado later in the year. So if you come to the intro and you just can't get enough, then you can, come to Colorado later this year and do the beginning. Yeah, it's really, really, really transformative in a way that I didn't expect, to the point where I
yeah.
was like, oh my God, I have to be a facilitator. And if I do this, I can't put my weird back in the box. And then when I did, I just got happier.
Not that we had our weird in the box anyway, but we
Yeah, I don't
thought
know.
we had
I
the
think in
weird.
my own head, I was like, okay, fine.
I think one of the things that I will mention is when it comes to like body pain.
Yeah,
I used to get these headaches that would just like be debilitating back
yeah,
here. And the more
yeah.
that I worked with and just kept clearing, again, I don't have them at all. And
Wow.
that is such a gift because it was
Yeah,
debilitating. It was just kind of this thing that would just, and so that's a huge gift, just that body relaxation where the body's like, trying to make this such a problem, fix it. What's wrong with me? And it's like, you know what? Just whatever entity energy, whatever that is, it's just in my space right there. Clearing that, doing the tools, practicing, having that. And if I don't have that, and that, such
that's
a gift.
huge. Holy
It's a
shit.
huge, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I
So
was I was thinking back to our first sessions together. You just had debilitating was the right word. Like, and I
it
said,
was,
"Have you acknowledged that you're aware of entities?" And you were like, "Oh."
Right.
Don't
No
talk to me about that.
more pain.
But it was so, I'm so grateful to have been a part of just the transformation, and that, because that you chose,
Yeah.
that let this awareness, this ability in. And that's the thing, you guys, about entity ability, is that you have it, you are it. Whether or not you let it in and you start embracing it and learning about it and learning to work with it in a really, really simple way, is up to you. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I'll do it.
Yeah, truly.
Yeah, cool. All right. Well, you guys are more than welcome. It's christeljoycrawford.com/San Diego in real time, and accessconsciousness.com/Christel Crawford if you just want to check out classes all over the world. And Lynnae, I'm grateful for you. Thank
I'm
you.
grateful for you too. Thank you.
Okay.
All
I'll
right.
see you soon.
Talk to you
Bye,
later.
guys.
Bye.